This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as an option for the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, July 29th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 764 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We kick off this week's news with a story over at new Cannabis Ventures written by the folks over at the Nielsen data analytical company that projects that the U.S. legal marijuana market will grow to $40 billion by the year 2025, 8 times the level of 2018 sales, which were around $8 billion. For a bit of context, U.S. wine sales are around $70 billion and craft beer sells just over $27 billion a year. So legal cannabis could be knocking at those numbers within just a handful of years, according to Nielsen's projections. This story is definitely worth opening up in full, as it has lots of other helpful, insightful, and useful bits of information and data. Swing over to new Cannabis Ventures for the full read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Kyle Yeager over at Marijuana Moments picked up on some good news out of Burlington, Vermont, where police are reporting that the number of traffic searches they performed has fallen 70% since adult use marijuana became legal. A report will be issued later today with details on the results, with the Burlington Board of Police Commissioners set to meet tomorrow about it. This is a good news story all around, as the statistics means that police spent less time in Vermont on invasive searches of citizens, which hopefully means they had more time to tackle actual crimes, while less people had to run the risk of a police encounter. More of this, please. Kyle's back with another story, this time detailing a bill introduced into the U.S. House on Friday that would clear a way for college students to retain federal financial student aid after being arrested and convicted of marijuana distribution charges. This is an issue about as old as my history in legal marijuana, as it was a foundational issue for the group I started in college, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, back in the late 90s, when this stupid policy was first enacted by prohibitionist lawmakers. The new bill, introduced on Friday by Representatives Bill Foster of Illinois and Gwen Moore of Wisconsin, I'll let you guess which political party they're both from, would allow students in danger of losing their funding to keep it if they complete an approved drug rehabilitation program. It's less than ideal, as the entire program restricting financial aid really needs to be gutted entirely, but ours is a movement built on baby steps, so this seems like a decent enough one to take as is. Kyle's story has more on this, as well as the exact bill itself. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz on in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, as well as the same for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Ease is super excited to be celebrating its 5th birthday, and to mark this big milestone, they're packing together all kinds of special daily deals, which you'll find over at ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. Each daily deal gives you all kinds of discounts on top-notch brands like Herbology, Caliva, Humboldt Farms, and Loudpack. Today's special daily deal puts the very cool PAX Era Vaporizer in your hands for just $1. Just open up ease.com and check out the daily deal section, where you can place your order using the discount code BDAY, B-D-A-Y. Thanks everyone at Ease for the support, and happy birthday. All right, time for the Blitz. The price of shares in the embattled Canadian licensed marijuana producer CannTrust were up at the end of last week on the news that the company was shedding its CEO and board chair, Peter Aceto and Eric Paul, for their role in an illicit cultivation scandal that came to life earlier this month. The price of CannTrust stock plummeted by more than half following that initial news break, so the rebound seen last week was built off of that diminished base. The company has halted all sales and awaits details of its punishment from Health Canada. 3 British members of parliament recently got back from a fact-finding trip to Canada to examine how that country is handling legal marijuana. Members of Parliament David Lammy, Sir Norman Lamb, and Jonathan Janangli all said that they had a positive experience on their tour and gave estimates ranging from 5 to 15 years for when they thought their country would catch up to Canada in terms of progressive cannabis policy reform. Oregon State's Department of Revenue just released some numbers for how its legal cannabis industry has fared over the last fiscal year, and I'm happy to report that it's, for the first time ever, cracked $100 million in legal sales. In all, $102.1 million in legal marijuana was sold in Oregon in the fiscal year 2019. Bloomberg has a link up to the full report, which has more details, numbers, and a chart. CNBC takes a good look at the ongoing evolution of testing job applicants for marijuana in pre-employment screenings. Now that cannabis is legal in as many states as it is, either for adult use or medical, it's getting harder and harder to find people who can even pass a marijuana test. To say nothing of the fact that screening for marijuana is largely an ineffective test of a good employee. It's mainly a tool of prohibitionists and an obvious cash cow for the drug testing industry. Not a bad story to read today, if only to keep up with this storyline. Canna blog takes a good look at the marijuana reform bona fides of Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg as part of their ongoing series examining all of the Democratic candidates. Mayor Pete, as he's better known, grabs a B+ from Canna blog, with him losing points mostly for not being more vocal on social media about the need for legalization. Knowledge is power. Zip over to Canna blog and grab some. John Schroyer over at Marijuana Business Daily is reporting that the data from California's legal marijuana industry's track and trace program will remain out of the public domain. California uses the metric tracking program made by Florida company Franwell, but stipulated under cannabis law that the information collected be held under lock and key, as it were. A government official told John that even though the underlying data will be kept private from the public, the state is likely to issue a report on the industry towards the end of the year, utilizing it. Wrapping up our news today is Mr. Marijuana News himself, Kyle Yeager, who wrote about a new bill introduced late last week into the U.S. House of Representatives that would make it easier for legal marijuana businesses to buy business insurance. The bill is similar to one introduced in the U.S. Senate last week by New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. If passed into law, the new House bill would allow legal cannabis businesses to buy casualty, property, and title insurance. Kyle's story has more here along with text of the full proposed bill. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.